9 o'clock, call the court to order. Quorum's present, all legal notices have been posted, and this court, can I get a motion to adjourn the court for the February term?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. Is there any unreadiness? All those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign of voting.
Aye.
Those who oppose, same sign. Chairs in the affirmative. Can I get a motion to open the court for the March term?
So moved.
Got a motion second. Any unreadiness? All those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign of voting.
Aye.
Those who oppose, same sign. Bailiff, will you please open the court?
All rise. Dallas County Commissioners Court is now in session for the March 2018 term. The Honorable Commissioner John Wiley Price presiding. Please remain standing for the invocation.
The invocation today will be a guest of Commissioner Mike Cantrell.
Commissioners, it's my pleasure today, honor today, to have our Public Works Director, Miss Alberta. She's going to deliver our invocation. You might want to pull that microphone down.
Yeah, I need to put, this was for Gordon. This is for me.
There you go.
Okay. In light of the day being election, I want to read a scripture from Matthew 5. So let me go to Matthew 5 because I do not have it memorized. Okay, Matthew 5:14 through 16. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for just an opportunity to come to you in prayer. Lord, we come to you in prayer because we need you, and we need you, Lord, in such a dark place that we have in this world. And we pray right now that your light will shine on this Commissioner's Court. I pray that you will shine on each and every elected official. And I pray right now you will shine on Judge Clay Jenkins. And I pray you will shine on Dr. Teresa Daniels. And I pray you will shine on Commissioner John Wiley Price. And I pray you will shine on Commissioner Mike Cantrell. And I pray you will shine on Dr. Elba Garcia. Lord, we need you to shine through them, Lord, and give them reflections that we need to have. Reflections, Lord, to direct each and every one of us, Lord. And I pray right now you will reflect on every staff member in Dallas County, Lord. Help us to reflections, help us to serve, help us to be hands and feet that serve for you. And I pray, oh Heavenly Father, right now, Lord, that you will just be with every single individual, that they will go forth and turn on the switch of power and go into the election polls. And I pray right now that it will be used for your glory and your purpose. I pray this because everything is from you, through you, and to you. So we give it all to you right now. In Jesus' perfect name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning and welcome to this edition of the Dallas County Commissioners Court. We will be dealing with those matters that have been posted on our agenda, and then, of course, we will be brief for matters to come forward in the future. I want to take a moment of just kind of personal privilege before we begin and say that, first of all, happy birthday to Terry Gibson. Terry Gibson is our court reporter, and she is going to be leaving us. Terry has been with the county almost as long as I have. I know she came in with a second term. But when you go back and you can remember people like Judge R.T. Scales, Terry was with him, and then she was also with a district clerk by the name of Bill Long, and she also was with a guy by the name in the Court of Appeals by the name of Clarence Guitar, who was the Chief Justice. Some of us have been around here long enough to have that memory. So not only is today her birthday, but today is her last day with us in court. And she's been with us, I think this time about 31 years. 31 years. And so she's 2 years behind, but like I said, I recall. And so we just, when Carolyn Brock moved on from the court, Terry came right in and took up the mantle and kept going. So we just want to say on behalf of a grateful Dallas County, thank you to Terry Gibson. She's going home to do some real work and take care of her family. And she's had a real balancing act. And those of us who kind of here every day, we know the balancing act she's had to do with family. But she gets a chance, she's done that, but at the same time, she's taking care of her duties here at the county. So on behalf of a very grateful county family, constituency, we want to say thank you, Terry, for 31 years of service to Dallas County. And I guess I would say I so move, but I don't have a resolution.
Did you stand?
If you did say that, I'd second.
Thank you, Miss Terry. We're gonna miss you.
I have my family here.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
Introduce
Oh,
one of
I
them.
was talking about you, Robert. I didn't even see it. Robert, the whole group, stand up, family.
Yeah.
My husband, R.T. Jr. Gibson. My oldest daughter, Jennifer. My son, Jonathan Rivera. Erin Linnell, my daughter, and her husband, 20-year Navy, who's recovering. He's been ill. James.
And we've heard only good stories.
Robert, I'm glad I didn't start, because I wanted to go say some, I started to say some things, Robert. So you're out there. Good to see y'all. Good to see all of y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So you're at your resolution.
All right, and our first resolution today is for me, and it is the Employees of the Month. And so will the following employees please come forward? Carlos Blanco, Nakish Greer. Oh, I should say they're with Carlos Blanco with Information Technology, Nakish Greer with Criminal Justice, Yancey Turner with Health and Human Services, John Jack Tidwell, or I missed one, Doris Bass with Health and Human Services, John Jack Tidwell with Public Works, John Felch with the District Clerk, and Cynthia Herrera with the Tax Office. And the resolution reads as follows. Whereas Dallas County employees are hardworking, dedicated, and play a vital role in achieving the goals and objectives set forth each year by the Commissioners Court. Most employees perform above expectations and ensure that Dallas County continues to be a regional leader and the destination of choice for residents and businesses. And whereas the Dallas County Commissioners Court authorized the creation of the Employee Recognition Program in 2012 to encourage recognition of dedicated employees who represent the best and the brightest of our workforce. And whereas the Dallas County Employee Recognition Program is consistent with the county's approved administrative plan under which the county seeks to be operationally a model governmental entity. These employees represent the exemplar employee Dallas County hopes to recruit and retain. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court does hereby salute the following employees for being selected as Employee of the Month in January 2018 for their respective departments and offers best wishes for continued success at Dallas County, and I so move.
And I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Will Homeland Security and Emergency Management, Tom Bradshaw and Mark Fox from the National Weather Service please come forward? Hey, guys. It's getting to be that time of year where we see a lot of each other, isn't it? Yeah. And this is a resolution regarding the severe weather season we're about to come into. And whereas each spring, severe weather can parent tornadoes and bring major storms that produce incredible damage and change lives in just a few minutes. The best way to meet violent Texas weather is to prepare in every possible way. And whereas Dallas County Homeland Security and Emergency Management has taken steps to better ensure our employees and residents are ready for potentially violent weather affecting Dallas County. As part of this effort, Dallas County has partnered with the National Weather Service Storm Ready program to ensure protective actions are in place throughout Dallas County, including county-owned and operated public facilities. And whereas these protective actions include distributions of NOAA weather radios, placement of tornado-safe area signs, conducting training and emergency exercises, maintaining severe weather information on county websites, placement of emergency posters, use of employee emergency notification system, and updating emergency plans and procedures. And whereas HSEM works closely with the National Weather Service, municipalities, and other partners to promote severe weather and tornado preparedness education by conducting weather spotter training and offering public education opportunities. In addition, HSEM and National Weather Service distribute emergency weather forecast alerts through a variety of communication mediums in advance of upcoming severe weather to better warn and alert our employees, partners, and public. And whereas HSEM has established a new program to provide inclement weather information to independent school districts, colleges, and universities throughout Dallas County through a variety of notification systems so that all may receive timely, accurate, and appropriate information. And whereas it's important that Dallas County employees and residents know how to prepare for severe weather and to ensure they have taken all necessary steps to protect their family by having a family emergency plan, emergency kit, and communication plan, everyone should stay informed and know what to do. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court does hereby recognize and applaud the emergency preparedness efforts of our county departments, the National Weather Service, our municipalities, partners, and volunteer agencies as we go into the spring 2018 severe weather season, and urges all county residents to stay prepared and know what to do. And I so move.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Anyone? I see, Mark, you brought a poster or something.
Yeah, we're going to, thank you, Judge and Commissioners. These folks standing beside me are no strangers to Dallas County. They work with us on a daily basis to help train and educate emergency responders and municipal and partner agencies. They work with us twice a year as we train our department heads and go through training and exercises for severe weather. Also, they just recently completed a large workshop for the Council of Government that had over 200 responders and news media and others that came in to be trained. So I'm going to turn it over to Tom Bradshaw, who's the meteorologist in charge for this area, and also Mark Fox, who's the warning coordinator. So, folks.
Thank you, Chief Bass. Just very briefly, on behalf of the National Weather Service, we're very, very honored to see this Storm Ready recognition renewal here for Dallas County. Dallas County is one of the largest counties in the United States. It's probably one of the counties that's most affected by significant severe weather, winter weather all year round. And so we're just amazed, and we're very honored to work very closely with Chief Bass and his great staff on a year-round basis to make sure that we're ready for weather. We just came out of the winter weather season. We're rolling right into the severe weather season. We've already had 4 tornadoes right here just in southern Dallas County and down in Johnson County. The season is upon us, so it's time to get ready. And we can't ask for a better partnership than we have right now with Dallas County.
Absolutely. And tornado season is already here. Unfortunately, DeSoto got hit by a zero in the middle of the night. No real injuries, no fatalities, obviously, so that's a good thing. Plans, policies, and procedures are rarely fun, but they pay off. And because they pay off, that's why I did bring you something, Judge. Unfortunately, it's not a vote for X, but congratulations to the city, or the county of Dallas, rather, for being storm ready once again. So this is a recognition that really only goes to about 5% of the United States. And this is a renewal for Chief Bass, and this comes with a very good relationship with Chief, with Judge, and everybody in Dallas County, and congratulations to everybody.
Hey, thank you so much. You guys are phenomenal. I can't find an hour of the night in storm season when I can catch you sleeping. You guys are just always on top of it, always know what's happening, and really help us to make the best decisions that we can on up-to-date information. We get information from the National Weather Service that's 30 seconds old. We're making decisions because of the great partnership that you afford, so we really appreciate y'all. Thank you. Thank y'all. Bring your sign, Chief. Come on up. We'll get a picture. If anybody's back there that can take a picture. We can't have y'all come all the way over here from Fort Worth and not get your picture. And we'll tweet something out about the National Weather Service. You in trouble.
I don't know.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Congratulations.
This is good. Thank you very much. It is actually
And Chief and Lauren, make sure to get on the 10 o'clock call.
because I'm everywhere.
Pass. Get it? Yeah.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the agenda.
Second.
Yes, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
If we could pull up court order number 5. Judge Moberg is in the jury trial. He's gracious enough to be down here this morning, so I know he wanted to speak on court order number 5.
Anybody want to move that and second it? So we-
Yes. Second.
Good morning, Commissioners. Judge, I want to thank you for the early opportunity to address you. I'm Ken Malberg, the local administrative district judge for Dallas County. I'm here to seek or ask you to pull item 5 from the court orders agenda. While the general concept, in my view, is a good one, this study or proposed study was never addressed with anyone in the judiciary, and it wasn't even discussed with me, which I find a little bit unsettling. And while the concept is great in a vacuum, there needs to be some input into this, because the content of the proposed order is based upon information that we give the OCA. So we have all of this information available.
But Judge, I've been talking about this for over a year.
That's correct.
Okay, so right now, all we're saying is that we want somebody to sift what we've been generating.
Well, we sift it every year, Commissioner. We sift it almost, some of us sift it every month.
Well, but yeah, that's fine. If the fox is still guarding the hen house, I want someone from the outside. Let me just tell you, this court has done a number of things, and what concerns me, we continue to talk about good government, and there are some, the dynamics have changed, and not just, across the board. And what I am going to share with all of my colleagues this morning, that we talked about in all of our committee meetings, is the number of courts we have, the number of so-called specialty courts that we have, and the amount of capital that we're having to invest in it as we go forward. We got courts that are not producing at the same level that they were 5 years ago.
Well, here's my point, Commissioner. If you'll hear me out, I'll
Okay.
get out of everyone's hair. And I'm glad you bring that point up, because I and others suspect that this appeared on the agenda in an effort to take away several county courts at law. Now, I do not represent the county courts. I do not purport to speak to them. But the reality is, if we remove 2 of those courts, we are tilting or pushing over the domino. When we think that because their caseloads are lower, that there's something wrong with that and we can now eliminate those courts, we're thinking about returning to the good old days that never existed. We come from a time where those courts had caseloads so high they were absolutely unmanageable. You could not get the simplest of case to trial within 2.5 to 3 years in those courts.
Judge, the law has changed. The law has changed in terms of the jurisdictions, number one, and as a result, the lawyers basically vote when they file. But it's not about them. It's about everything from JP courts on back.
I understand that.
Our JP courts are not
But
functioning.
if this is truly a workload study, then why is there not some input from the judiciary? And I can assure you, Commissioner, that a business case in Kendall County is not the same as a business case, $10 million dispute over a downtown condo in Dallas, Texas.
Okay. And
They're
that's
not
your point.
widgets in that box.
Okay, my point is that let someone else who is going to be able to decipher that information. Same way with, again, JP courts have changed. I've talked to this court, again, we're seeing a compression in those courts. But again, jurisdiction-wise. And as a result, we're going to have to make some decisions with regards to all courts. So all this is the Office of Court Administration saying, hey, let's...
And what is it going to tell us, Commissioner?
Well, yeah,
What that we don't know?
Can I ask a question here, too? Because do we know anything about what the survey entails? What's the methodology that's going to be used?
I have no idea. Generally, we give them all the statistics they use to regurgitate to everybody else. We conform to their best practices analysis and always have.
Judge, so you say that you have forwarded all this information to OCA.
That's correct.
So you all have those numbers,
Yes,
right?
we do.
And when you and I talk, I mean, we mentioned that you have not had a chance to talk to your colleagues.
Right.
I mean, I know that this court has been discussing these, goodness gracious, for more than a year now.
More than a year.
Right.
And, my view is that we need to look at those numbers. I would love for you to have the opportunity to talk to your colleagues. I don't mind pulling this item today until we all feel that we're moving in the right direction. But I have to agree with Commissioner Price. I mean, either we drive in the car or we let someone else drive it. There were some efforts during the last legislature session to cut some of these courts. So I would love to see...
We're fearful of that, Commissioner, because we know what it will do to the district level, the civil district.
Correct, but to Commissioner Price's point, I'd rather have some of the points and the numbers to, be sure that we keep some of the good courts rather than let someone else having those numbers, those arguments, and have no defense.
Well, I can't disagree with that, and generally, I don't disagree with what Commissioner Price has said. It's just that if I had come just all of a sudden in court said I wanted to do a study of the workload and efficiency of the Commissioner's Court without any input at all from any commissioners, I mean, how would you receive that?
Yeah, and
I still wonder, too, what are we actually going to be talking about? Because I've talked to a number of people who were involved in past studies done by OCA. And there's the
Give me one. We've never had one.
there was one probably 10, 12 years ago.
We've never had I've been here 33 years. Have we ever, does anybody remember one? Because I missed it.
Talk to people who they were involved in it.
No. Have we ever had an OCA study?
There may be some confusion related to the OCA coming in and talking about best practices related to collection.
Exactly.
And they
Not a
did,
study.
they did do extensive stuff,
They
you
do.
do did some audits are related to that.
Yeah.
But as for workload related to court, number of courts, I've not seen it.
Okay, but let's go back,
that-
still to go back to methodology on it, because it's my understanding that that there is an option for judges to participate or to not participate. And when you do that, then you are skewing the data that's going to be collected.
No. I mean, they already, the law said, they have to send in the information. They don't, like you said, the data. They need to
I want to
churn
see
it.
the methodology on how it's going to be done.
Well,
And I agree with my colleagues that I see no problem, and I think it is only fair and only leads to a good result that the judiciary have input on a study of the judiciary. And I think also it's important for the respect of the judiciary that we afford you that opportunity. One thing that I'm keenly aware of is Senator Huffines will, in all likelihood, file a bill to do away with our county courts at law. And people who want to shrink the court system in Dallas County and erode the right to trial by jury will, whatever the report says, will cherry pick information in that report to make a case to attack the judiciary in Dallas County. So I'm somewhat skeptical of the usefulness of us generating a report for people who've already decided that they want to do away with courts in Dallas to use that. But if we're going to do it, I sure want you to have input.
time out. I don't know. I don't talk to Senator Huffines. I never talked to Senator Huffines. I was talking about this before Senator Huffines or whomever. This is about good management in terms of us understanding what is possibly on the horizon in terms of caps, in terms of management, in terms of the system. You cannot, and as I said, it has nothing to do, everybody keeps talking about county courts law. I just said a couple of weeks ago that I talk about this with JPs. I said the same thing with regards to the whole truancy matter. And the issue is that JP courts are losing, they're losing cases, correct?
Correct.
And as a result, every decision we're making from capital to compression, we're making it based on that. We're starting to see it. Those are workload measure courts. So it has nothing to do with any special court. It's about governance. And if whether it's a
Commissioner, I said I don't generally disagree with you. I'm saying I'd like to sit down with somebody and target some of these things and inform them what we go through in Dallas County. We have one of the most respected, particularly civil judiciaries in the state of Texas. I don't want to see that upended. It's my job to defend that.
I got you. And all I'm saying is I got a third party. Just, the data will be what the data is.
And it's data we have, Commissioner.
Well, but you haven't, I don't need.
I don't know why
Give
else.
them an opportunity to at least have some input into the process.
Well,
How long will you, Judge?
you have a busy day. It's a busy day for other people. I've got a jury waiting on me. I appreciate your time, and I would ask this item be put.
How long would you need, Judge, to do this? I mean,
We've already pulled it once.
Well, yeah, I'll make a motion to table based on everything.
No,
Wait for the answer.
You pulled it once.
I don't know, 30, 60 days.
okay.
Let somebody sit down with
When
us.
it's ready with your group, someone can put it back up, but it's already been pulled once, so I'm going to make a motion to table. If that's seconded, we'll vote on it, and then whenever it's ready, we can bring it back up.
Sounds good.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Wait a minute. Judge, you think in 30 days you can get
Well,
30 to 60.
give me 60. We may have, I have to see what happens today.
If it's
I mean,
30, if it's 60.
I don't know,
if it's-
frankly, there are a couple of
Well, it's
people I
not
may
60,
not.
then we have to.
Well, okay, well, let me explain something, Judge. I can put this on every Tuesday.
Go ahead.
Okay, so just because somebody's saying something, I want to hear what he's having to say, and you're trying to rush this thing through. You've already pulled it once.
I'm just trying to get him back to his jury trial.
Okay, we'll get him back.
60.
Okay, I'm listening to him, but you keep trying to push it through. You can be patient. We've been patient with you.
Okay, all right, make your statements.
I mean, Commissioner, I'd say 60 days. Let's be realistic.
Okay,
Probably
so
30
60
is.
days, I'm wondering, what are you going to accomplish in 60 days? That's what I'm...
Well, I want to, first of all, get a focus to this, because
Okay.
when I read the proposed order, it doesn't frankly, it doesn't say anything.
But you know OCA, Judge.
I know OCA, of course I do. I deal with them, I deal with OCA.
Okay.
I want to talk to OCA and ask them, what type of, what are we looking at? What does this entail? What are your measurements? I mean, are you going to compare the stuff we have with, like I pointed out, Kendall County, which is no comparison at all?
Okay, but hopefully they're going to compare us to moderately sized counties, but you're going to go work with the 5 county court of law judges.
Well, I'm going to work with at least 1 or 2 of them, let's put it that way.
Okay, and get their input, I understand, get their input, and then at least get with OCA, and then, are you going to give us a report, or are you just going to say,
Then I
we're ready?
can write you a letter, I can come visit with you, but I'd just like to get some direction to it, because I do not disagree with the concept, Commissioner.
We'll work with the judge to
Okay.
compare.
Yeah.
Perfect.
To the court.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Getting that methodology would be better.
And by that time, hopefully, I can see what that means in terms of OCA and what their comparisons are, because I don't want to waste any more of your time here.
Well-
But they regurgitate, like I said to us, the numbers that we give them, and frankly, some of our numbers are not in perfect shape.
And is this going to be limited to just the county courts of law?
No.
This is
No,
actually-
I think he said the whole,
No.
That's right.
No, this is a
Across the board.
study.
Okay, I'm just making...
Yeah, no,
making it
this is
very
across,
clear.
because I want to pull Judge Birmingham into that too, and of course, I have to have some inroads. Judge Green is now the new presiding county criminal court judge.
what about, the thing that concerns me about this is, as I said, and you pull the JPs in, and of course, that's...
No, I agree.
We're looking at that, because I can tell you what they cost us, I can tell you what each court cost us. But as a result, I'm watching their caseload shrink. And that was my position just a couple of weeks ago with that $1.8 million that we spent for truancy.
Right.
Yeah, we should have it in the JP court. But the majority court said no. This kicking the can down the road, acting like, either we're going to deal with governors or they're going to drop that cap on
Well,
us.
Commissioner, I'm not kicking the can down the road. I want to get a handle on what the question is and how they're going to answer it.
Exactly. But the only reason you're here is because, I've been talking about this for over a year.
Well, I'm here because this county needs more civil district courts, and our caseloads continue to rise, and we're at the breaking point, and I've got people talking about eliminating
Compared to
3 county
what?
courts at law.
Compared to what?
What do you mean compared to
Well,
what?
you're going to compare them to what? You got 3 county courts of law that 5 years ago had as many as 18,000 cases.
Gridlock. Absolute
Today, they've
gridlock.
got 5,000 cases.
If you've got 1,000 cases in each of those courts, you probably still got too many courts to reasonably manage in a civil court
Judge?
with that jurisdiction.
Yeah. Again, if it's 60 days, we put it back up. I don't know, I understand why it takes 60, but okay. He said it.
We'll work with the judge and make sure we have something on the first meeting then.
Okay,
Good seeing you. Thank you.
thank
Do
you,
y'all
Judge.
have
Good to
anything
see you.
else? No. So all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right. I believe we have some I believe we have some presentations next. Is that what?
Yeah, well, that was I was getting ready to go into the judicial man, but I'm going to defer to HHS and Mr. Shovelman.
Yeah, our first one is
And
HHS.
Commissioner Price, I wanted to say thank you for the information of the specialty courts and everything you provided us. Mr. Martin, would you please be sure that the judges and Judge Mulber has all this information, because we want to make sure that we're working with them until this comes back.
Well, I'm going to talk about some of this, these specialty courts under judicial management as well in my presentation. So that's where we're coming from.
Good.
Okay.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So we had one reported flu death, two reported flu deaths yesterday. That puts us at 74 total flu deaths for the season. 73 of them are adult and 1 pediatric. We've had about 528 hospitalizations, ICU hospitalizations specifically. And like I told the Commissioners Court last time, we have the basically at-risk population is anybody over 50 years and above. They are at 73% at risk to be, to have the ICU hospitalization. And then the second condition is where they have a underlying medical condition. That group is 84% vulnerable to ICU hospitalizations related to flu. So those are the statistics, but I do see generally that it was trending downwards, the flu-related deaths, until we came upon yesterday where two was reported. And so we had to pause a little bit and see where this takes us from here. And then I wanted to compare, like I did last year. If you go to the next slide, this is of course, the flu surveillance report. And we did see, week over week, it was trending downwards, the flu-related deaths. However, yesterday we had 2 reported, so that, again, remains to be seen if that spikes or if it remains low. And so, given the downward trend up until yesterday, I wanted to look at the national statistics, see how Dallas County stacked up nationally. And if you go to the next slide, we did also see nationally that there was a downward trend. We went from about 1,173 deaths to 993 deaths to 709 deaths really. And the 2 points, the takeaway points with this, the graph here that we see here is that there is a downward trend nationally, number one. And number two, although we saw the season was severe, we exceeded baseline nationally, we did see that we quite didn't exceed the 2014-15 season. We came up to that point, and then that basically topped it off. And then so we expect nationally that this would be it in terms of the range.
In terms of the first wave.
The first
wave.
That's right.
Second
Is there a
wave.
second wave coming?
Second wave coming.
Yeah, great point, Commissioner made. Yes, the second wave we see that's already coming in. So the second wave relates to the type B flu, but the first wave that was the A was up here. The second wave is there, but it's not. It's sort of under that particular curve. So, but yes, this wave that we see, Commissioner Price, is the type B that we expected. And so, yeah, we really need to be careful before we say that this is it.
Right.
If you go to the next slide, we do see we did this is regarding the mobilization of vaccination efforts. We completed 10 clinics as of date. We have 1 scheduled tomorrow, and then we have 5 that we've scheduled so far through March. We are targeting. We went from the zip code targets to also targeted areas for, like in this case, we went to homeless shelters, and we have 2 more scheduled for those targeted vaccination efforts. If you go to the next slide, I just provided to the court here that where we see the different zip codes, the severity of those zip codes that were affected, as well as if you see we have the different areas that we have mobilized flu vaccinations. I've used red pins to indicate what we've completed, and then the yellow pins indicate those clinics that are scheduled that's forthcoming. So that's something I wanted to share with the Commissioners Court.
And this is great information, Director, especially because you have all the different zip codes within the municipalities that we've seen those numbers. Have you connected with them? Have these numbers been public in our county website or in any direct manner with some of these municipalities?
Yes, we've communicated with all our partners. We're still tying up with a few more, but if you see the different shades of the zip codes, the ones that are more severe,
correct,
you see those red pins there, and it's been very well received. So all the different partners that have worked with us, and absolutely a joy to work with. I mean, they've given the facility. They've let us, station our mobile clinic, and they've done all the efforts they can to garner that support. And so we've got great results. We really did we exceeded 400 vaccinations just because of this effort, which is really something we'd like to see. And then, so that's basically the different areas, and it's continuing. So we are not stopping here. We have 5 more scheduled. There's going to be more after that. We're just waiting on some confirmations. And then, of course, we are working on, based on the task force that we had, the discussion we had, Commissioner Price, if you remember, is trying to simplify the message out there. So we are working on different infographics to educate the public with, make it simplify the message. And so this is something that we are, we're constantly working on. This is one of the examples that you see in front of you. And then, of course, you have several different examples of different flyers that we worked on recently.
Good. It was responsive. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I want to say the, prevention materials, when you say the difference between cleaning, disinfecting, and sanitizing, most people don't know that. And I know that we have addressed it here several times, not that everybody watches us, but with that being said, I want to thank you and Commissioner Price as well for the initiative of the mobile unit. Director Shiva Meyer and Dr. Perkins and I were at the Mexican consulate last week, and I have to say, Commissioner Price, we almost beat you. In 2 hours, we have 72 people. So thank you so much. The response was excellent, and I really want to thank you for your leadership in creating these programs.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you.
In English and Spanish, may I add?
Of course. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you. It's just a motion, the thing is in suspension. She stepped out. Is there any concerns with regards to, see, we got an emergency, and I've asked the sheriff to look at it. Is there any concern with regards to L6? Because I think that's the reason she's here primarily. So is there any concern with regards to L6? Otherwise,
L6? Which one is
L6, that's the video visitation.
No, actually, I wanted to thank Mr. Martin for all the information that you provided us yesterday. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it's working well.
It's working well.
I was surprised. I expected more, to be honest with you, to be more used, to have more use. But nevertheless, I mean, I guess we were right when we had the discussion several years back.
And you never limited in person.
Exactly. The face-to-face continues to be the higher numbers.
Right. Okay.
Right? So.
I just want to,
Question, though? Because if we're going to extend the length of time that the videos are kept, how does that affect storage of the materials?
Because we're seeing less than we originally anticipated on the video side, they're able to do that with no cost.
right.
Okay, so you don't have to
Correct.
increase the number of servers or any of that kind of thing?
Stored on theirs.
It'd be theirs on
Oh,
theirs.
it's on their servers anyway?
This,
Okay.
Well, I notice also that is the age of the population. I'm glad that you're capturing those numbers. And, I just want to say, I guess it was a good move for this court when we passed this program, and I want to thank everyone that participated, and thank you for answering all my questions. Thank you.
I had one question while you're here. It was Sheriff's Department and DA that requested the additional time, correct?
Correct.
And that is because?
They need additional storage time for possible investigations that may be in the works.
Okay, thanks a whole bunch.
Thank you.
All right, do we want to go ahead and take a vote on that since it's up?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Commissioner Price, you vote yes on that?
yes.
Motion carries unanimously. And sorry, folks, we're dealing with situation right now outside of court. Our next presentation is an update on the unincorporated area. Here is
I'm behind it.
my man, my Lyceum brother, Michael Grace. Take it away.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you. As stated, as we have before us, is the annual update for the Department of Unincorporated Area Services, and the purpose is to provide an update on key activities, milestones, and upcoming deliverables. The department officially started January 1st, 2017. The current, in the interest of time, I'll be skipping through some of the slides since you have the backup with you. The department currently consists of director, myself, 2 nuisance abatement officers, a development coordinator, part-time residential inspector and engineering services vendor. Slide 3. Next slide. As again, created January 1st, 2017, assigned key functional areas are addressing and street naming, cell towers, extraterritorial jurisdiction agreements, floodplain management, nuisance abatement enforcement, outdoor business regulations, residential building codes, and subdivision, otherwise known as platting. I'll skip forward to slide 8, please.
Gosh, this is more font.
September through January 2018, actually February, these are the numbers for some of the permits and applications we've processed. And we'll move on to slide 9. Thank you. Some of the key milestones for the nuisance abatement division, as we know there's a lot of attention in that area, includes we consolidated the auto salvage yard status list from information received from Public Works and the Fire Marshal's office, implemented consistent patrols. We've noted increases in voluntary compliance of property violations. The nuisance abatement patrol officers have been organized to patrol 4 zones, 2 zones per officer. We implemented daily activity and incident reports, enhanced patrols per introduction of a field technology platform, including tablets and Wi-Fi. I've coordinated across divisions, the nuisance abatement division with the development division to assist with the monitoring of development activity in the field and the issuance of stop work orders. Also, have partnered with the Dallas County Sheriff's Department to coordinate on patrols. They have assigned 2 units per shift. Move forward to slide 12, please. In terms of property engagement by nuisance abatement officers, I know that there has been some question raised previously regarding how we approach that, and so the 2 officers we have are very good at talking with property owners and educating them on what the rules and regulations are and how they can achieve compliance. And so we've engaged about 70 properties thus far. We've issued 42 notices. We've currently received compliance on 17 of those, and 6 of them are in progress, and we've issued stop work orders as a result of coordinating across divisions with the development division. So at this point, I will conclude in the interest of time and take any questions anyone may have.
I know Marshall De Los Santos
Right.
is
Marshall,
here.
yes, he's here.
And there was, at the last time, we had a presentation, I guess the last court session. There were compliance plans on all except one, and it's my understanding that you have now issued a new compliance plan with regards to that last outlier.
Yes, sir, we have. Yes, sir.
You have issued a compliance plan.
Yes, sir. He signed it yesterday morning.
Signed it yesterday morning?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There was a few other concerns that we had. I know they brought it up. I had a conflict with the last meeting with regards to permits and all, but it's my understanding that we're beginning to resolve those issues in terms of getting some things done. And I just want to thank you, because it's been a real undertaking, and to bring that last person into compliance.
Yes, sir.
I guess he and his lawyer finally understand that we're serious.
That we were
Well, he
serious.
doesn't have a lawyer anymore, so we're working with him directly.
Oh, yeah?
That's probably going to help.
Well, I think that what we have done as a county, and giving more of the resources and giving the people, for people to take us seriously, Commissioner, has really, taken effect. And I want to thank you, Fire Marshal De Los Santos and Mr. Grace. This is a good presentation, it's a good beginning, but we still have a long way to go. And Mr. Grace, you're participating with Fire Marshal De Los Santos in all his meetings as well, right?
Oh, yeah. No,
Perfect. Because, I think that people are seeing you in the community, and now I'm getting calls that, they seen you, and especially you, Fire Marshal De Los Santos, we love that. Mr. Grace, I want those agreement of understandings with all the municipalities so we can have building codes that actually make sense when someone plans and comes to this court with economic development.
Well, there are some pending ETJ issues before some of my councils, and hopefully that's going to be resolved soon.
Right, we're currently working on an ETJ agreement. It's in review with the city of Wilmer, so that should be coming forth.
And I did see some of those
Let me update
languages,
y'all
so it's good.
on an evolving situation real fast. We just got this in from the Elections Department. The location was placed on lockdown as a security protocol due to a shooting in the area. The location was on lockdown for 25 to 30 minutes, but no longer is, according to the election judge there, Mr. Lawson. They're processing voters currently, and the location is up and running. So all of our voting locations are up and running. This was no risk to the voters, no risk to the county workers, the election workers.
It was nothing. That's the reason we were on top of it. We were on top of it.
Mr. Grace, also thank you for the new website. It looks really good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to make a couple other notes. Regarding auto salvage yards, we do meet monthly. The Fire Marshal's Office, Unincorporated Area Services, and Public Works meets monthly on the auto salvage yards. And just since we're here, there are a couple of photographs showing some of the progress we've made with some of the properties we've engaged. 109 Dixon is one of them that has achieved 100% compliance. I'm sure you're all familiar with that one.
Yeah, very much so.
As a matter of fact, I received a report yesterday afternoon from Officer Arias that the issues that we had ongoing in Sand Branch, the one that we have engaged, have been 100% addressed as of yesterday.
And Mr. Grace, you do have bilingual staff.
I'm sorry, say what?
Bilingual staff.
Yes.
Fantastic. I mean,
Absolutely.
in a lot of these areas, I have
14 unincorporated
areas,
number of them
a lot of them are Spanish-speaking.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, we've created 2 flyers, one for litter and another one for dumping, public nuisance and dumping, that we have in the print shop. It's not printed yet, but I do have draft copies if you all want to see them in Spanish and English.
Fine. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Grace, and next time just a bigger font.
Okay.
Thank you.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we get to the next presentation, one other update. Lot going on today. Of course, it's election day, but also it is re-up your cards day for people who were affected by the energy, the gas leak and the shortfall there. And I'm pleased to report that I'm being told by Dallas, the City of Dallas's Office of Emergency Management, that wait times right now are about 10 minutes at the Bachman Library and the Walnut Hill Recreation Center. So for anyone for your social media, for our media partners, the wait times are going very well there. Please go in now. Don't wait until after work when it'll be at its heaviest, and you'll get your reloadable debit card and you won't have to go back in again if the gas is still off in 5 days at your house. They'll be able to reload that electronically. But now is a great time to go with wait times at 10 minutes. At the end of the day is not as good of a time to go.
No, and that's very good information, and I want to commend the City of Dallas and the council members involved in this effort. Good information, Judge, and if there's anything we can disseminate, don't hesitate to send it.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
That's judicial management, and one of the things, it's really kind of this follow-up to where we were with the OCA in terms of these courts and all. I guess one of the things that came up in jail sanitation was the number of courts. I don't think this court has an idea of the number of courts that are over there. And when I say courts, it's not just the statutory courts, it's the courts that have created programs within the courts. Now, while that sounds laudable, and what concerns me is that we're having to staff those individuals. We're having to staff those courts. And Mr. Richardson, you here? I asked for the number of specialty courts and the programs in Dallas County. I think I've given to all the court members. This is unbelievable, and this is going to lead up right up this so-called. Now, talking about pulling, I'm going to pull that dead homeless court thing, because I definitely don't understand that. PD is not even involved in that. We've got all of these courts, and just look at 2 pages of courts here that have specialty programs. We have not appropriated for these kind of programs within those courts. And so how are we making this work? And so tell us what's going on with all of these courts. How are you covering?
Well, there are a couple of courts where we actually have a dedicated PD, which is either paid for by the county or if the judge has gotten some sort of grant. But for the vast majority of these court programs, the PD staff these programs in addition to their regular docket. And we want to be involved in a lot of these courts because we see the value in getting them diverted from prison or jail. But the problem is that it's become quite popular in the last, I would say, 8 years. And most judges want to have some sort of specialty court. And it's gotten to the point that sometimes court programs are initiated and we're expected to work those courts. You also look at some of the court programs that takes bailiffs to be available. We even have one court that we work in cooperation with the City of Dallas, the SCIP program that we hold over at the Martin Luther King Center. It requires our bailiffs because this is misdemeanor and felony cases. So the other concern that we have is that there are lists, and I don't think you have the color-coordinated copies, but it identifies...
I did a color-coordinated. Okay. I don't have no problem with it.
Identifies those courts that are recognized as specialty courts by the governor's office. The others are not. So that means that in the future, and the governor's office is cracking down on this, to make sure that all of the court programs are using best practices. And that is a concern we have, whether the data is being collected and whether we know whether or not they're effective or not. There's a lot of crossover. You mentioned that I believe the DA's office is interested in a homeless court. Well, we serve the homeless in most of these court programs, most specifically in the STAT court program, in South Dallas Drug Court, in the SCIP court program, and the mental health program. Most of the people that are homeless are either mentally ill or have substance abuse issues. So the concern that I have, are we going to draw some of these people out because they're homeless, who probably need to be in these specialized courts that are following best practices and giving them the services and resources they need. The biggest concern is that, again, we want to participate in these programs, but there's never any money or dollars that are allocated for the use of a public defender. And our public defenders are handling their regular dockets and then expected to do this. And I don't mind telling you that the populations that we're dealing with are high-risk, high-needs people, and it takes a lot of time.
They're challenged. But not only that, your department, but criminal justice.
Right.
In terms, Mr. Steele, I see Ms. Randa, y'all are here. And one of the things I did notice is that, again, you're not appropriated for these courts as well. Is that correct?
I'll have to get that information, but I believe that staff using general funds is used to provide the services for those courts.
The docket creation, the tracking, the participants scheduled in the court, these divert courts, AIM, misdemeanor OCR, felony OCR, the MAD court. These programs, and I guess, Ryan, I'm bringing this up, it's budget time, okay? Either we're going to do a good job or we're not. And you cannot expect, just because someone comes up with an idea, and they're over there wrestling to decide what courts are going to handle what cases. If we're going to be in charge of the budget, then we've got to be in charge of the budget. And we've got to give them the tools. We continue to talk about other lawsuits, but we got to give them the tools to be able to do what they need to do.
Assuming the court has justification to continue to be operating. But, theoretically today, we'll probably solve some of these courts to go away.
Exactly. And see, that's my point. But
and you've got a strong partner in CSCD, because obviously each one of these has a CSCD probation component, and they've been arguing and talking about how some of them they don't believe have any value. And so we need to get with them, identify those that the governor, that aren't really meeting the governor's role, and talk to the judge and say, we're no longer going to provide you support for this. Those that we do have the governor's role that are impacting the PD's office, then we need to take a look at what resources are necessary. But, frequently, unfortunately, these are, a docket of 12 people once a month, and, so it's, how do you sit there and say, okay, I'm going to give you a PD to deal with 12 people once a month? I mean, I don't get there.
But I'm back to, where you call it OCA or budget or whomever, somebody drilling down, and let's talk about what's really there.
Well, I know
Not feel good.
You're aware there's a study out there that took a look at some of these courts, and it came back and basically said what CACD expected it to say, that some of them, there is no justification for the existence. They're not helping the clients, or in some cases, they are setting the clients up for failure.
Exactly. And again, I guess the reason, again, I'm going to continue to bring to this court, we need to make a decision. Ms. Richardson?
The other thing is CSCD is in most of the courts, but not all of the court programs. And I guess the comment was made that some of these courts may go away. Trust me, even if the judges go away, the new judges, they're already campaigning and they're already saying that they want a specialty court. So this is popular. It is very popular. But again, we got to do a better job about making sure that they follow best practices and that they're getting the results that they need. There may be no need to have a particular court if they're not, basically making a difference. And the recidivism rate is high, or they're only having 3 or 4. So that's the biggest issue, making sure, because when they work properly, they do work. They do make a difference in the lives of the people that go through these programs. There is no question about it. But you've got to have a judge and staff that recognize this and are willing to follow the research, collect the data, and follow best practices.
I'm going to, until such time, again, budget is here. We need to deal with this issue. Those that are with the governor's office that have a funding stream, that have best practices attached to them, we need to say that. Everything else, we need to say no. And we need to figure out not only public defenders, but we've got courts, and I brought this up before. We've got an office, we got the #1 public defender's office in the state of Texas.
Yes.
Funded to the tune of about 14 million?
Yes.
Thereabout?
Thereabouts.
Okay. Then we got an appointed system. Unlike Tarrant County, which does it centrally. So about 28 million?
Yes.
I mean, at some point in time, somebody's got to say something.
But as you're aware, we have now changed the process as of a couple weeks ago, so we are getting some financial information on a limited basis. Ultimately, we will get that information on 24/7, which will be used for pretrial release determinations, bonds, but also will be provided to the court coordinators, and theoretically, they should be able to utilize that for the appointment of counsel. Since that information is just now getting to the court coordinators, it was my goal this week to go talk to some of them to see how they are utilizing the information. It will be a culture change to get them to start actually using information and making determinations based on good information gathered at the book it effectively.
Do you have someone that is dedicated? I know everything we lateral to you. Do you have someone that's dedicated to be a tracker? See, I'm still on that whole sign and release thing. 50% of the people showed up.
Correct.
Yeah.
50% of what, was it 20?
50% of the 20
Just higher
showed
than
up.
what it had been, right?
50% showed up. And it still took us 4.5 hours to book them in the process. So we didn't save anything.
This wasn't going to be a savings deal.
It cost us money. But see, everyone here, had a feel good. It goes sideways. No, we did not take them in that night. They came back. So 50% have now wound up in the sheriff's 65,000 warrants plus.
The other 50% now.
The other 50% have
we will go pick them up, and they will be booked in and be impacted that way. Yep. And it's actually harder to find them the second time than obviously at the original offense.
Yeah.
Going back to this list of courts, there are, many of them we're familiar with because they've been around, and we've been talking with the judges and people affected by it. But there are a couple that I am not sure. Intercepted? What's
Yes.
intercepted? I mean,
Yes.
is this something we can follow up later at a...
Well, youthful offenders, and trying to get people that are youthful offenders. Greenyard is another one, Judge Green, for youthful offenders. And so what they do is they bring them in and they talk to them and they require them to get GEDs and things like that. It's not quite as structured as the other court programs because it's basically run by the judge. They have to have representation, especially if they've got a pending case. But of course, the ideal situation is that if they're successfully completing the program, then the case gets dismissed. OCR, outpatient competency restoration. Another problem that we face, we've had OCR in the misdemeanor courts with Judge Skemp for several years, and that's worked really well because we have a competency attorney that has to go to each and every court and handle all those cases. So we've always tried to get a centralized court to address that. We finally got a district court judge who's willing to do it, and then there's another district court judge that wants to do it. And so now it kind of, eliminates the problem because now they've got to go from court to court. I think their hearts are in the right place. They want to help them, but then it causes a strain on already strained employees, and you're always conscious about making sure that they are able to handle their dockets and their cases to get good, positive, and effective legal representation.
Well, I like what you said. Ryan, you got to make a list. Anything that's funded through the governor's office right now, and the following best practices, we keep them. Everybody else goes on the list to be cut, and they have to manage their way off of that through your office for this next budget cycle. Period. Otherwise, it's cut. There's no funds allocated whatsoever to support that.
But I will tell you, Commissioner, there are some judges that said, I don't care. I'll just operate it anyway, and I need...
Well, let them operate. If they're not going to be operating with the bailiff, PD, or DA.
They're using the existing court staff. So if the PD handling 100 cases, then they're expected to do this as well.
Well, letter can generate from the...
from civil service.
That's right, civil service.
We'll push on it, but there will be some difficulties, because obviously, the moment you say we're not going to let you use the PD, they'll do a court-appointed attorney.
Who's going to fund it? We're not going to approve it.
You'll have to ask your county auditor's office if they'll ever deny a court-appointed attorney payment that comes through their office.
And I think this illustrates kind of what the judge was talking about when he came up today. It's very important that we communicate and get them sitting around the table with you. It's, a lot of what this sounds like, and I realize that some of this is for public.
Governance versus politics.
Some of this is for public consumption and the politics, but we won't be able to have any governance if we don't work together with the other independently elected people.
That's been my point all along.
Well, but here's the thing. We go to the legislature and they create courts, and then these judges get elected to courts, and then they try to create another court.
Yeah.
Now,
I understand.
And I don't understand how the auditor can pay for those just made-up courts.
There's going to be statute issues as we relate to this, because the same thing's going to happen the moment I say, okay, I'm not going to provide a bailiff after hours because the bailiff's there from 8 to 4:30.
Right.
Okay, well, the statute says the sheriff shall bailiff the court. It doesn't say between
statutory
after
court.
4:30.
The statutory
Yes, it does. But if this is a statutory judge performing a function related to court judicial activities, I'm fairly certain Russell's going to tell me in his opinion that we have to provide them a bailiff if they request it.
And he's right.
So there are other areas where we can work together, and we can probably do some changes and make it work better. But it will be very difficult to be very complete, bring it to an end.
Okay, so I guess we come back to the point of how can we manage this, because both sides have good points. I hate to say, Mr. Brown, but can we put you in charge with Mr. Martin?
With the parties and see what we can come up with. I do have a vacancy that I will be filling, and I can assign them to kind of help on this particular side. Because there are things like the AIM 17, which is a magistrate hearing, having a specialty court. And so someone needs to explain to me why we would let the magistrate have a specialty court unless someone can say there truly is a value added to this program.
AIM is Judge Birmingham.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, AIM is Judge Birmingham, and then there's an AIM 2 that's getting ready to get started.
That's Judge Fargo.
Oh, Judge Fargo's not a magistrate. Remember, she was appointed by the governor.
I apologize, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that she'd been appointed.
Yeah.
My point is, see, we don't have our arms around this, and that's the reason I keep bringing it up. So, again, I don't like this word, but I don't need you to publish a white paper on this, on these courts. But I need you to publish a white paper on these courts, so we can see what
And let me make clear.
I know.
If they work, we're on board. We
I got
want
you.
to. We want programs that work to divert people and to keep them from getting convictions, but we just need them to do it properly.
Yeah, that's my point. That's what any of us want. That's all I was saying to Judge Moore. That's all we want.
with the right
if they're
staff.
producing, they're producing. If they're not, then let's do the governance thing and not have it, imposed on us. Okay, thank you. Okay,
Okay, we're ready to go.
yeah.
Judge?
All right, so the next thing up is our consent agenda. Is there a motion on our consent
So
agenda?
moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Now, we've got some bids. Is there a motion on the bid?
So moved.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Give me just let's give it a second here.
Yeah, Commissioner Garcia.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, we have some court orders. Not sure I've got all the pulls here. Let me look and see. Is there a motion on court order L1 through 53 and addendums 54 and 55, recognizing that we've already voted on 5 and 11, so they're not included, and we're pulling 20 and 25 off the agenda by staff and pulling, that's all I have.
55.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay, and pulling 55 for a separate vote. Is that got us?
I think you pulled 3. I think he's wanting to pull 3.
Yeah, I want to pull 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
For later,
for later.
Okay.
And then I'm showing
20 and 25.
6. I thought we voted already on 6, not.
I thought it was 5.
Was that a?
Well, 5 and 6.
We voted 5 and 6.
6, yeah.
What was 11?
5 and 6 are already voted.
Yeah, 11's not it.
Yeah, I'm mistaken. All right.
Okay, so we're pulling 3.
So it's 1 through 55, excluding court orders 3, 5, 6,
20, 25,
25,
and 55.
55.
Is that a motion, Mike?
Yeah.
Second.
All right. Okay, so that's a motion by Cantrell and a second by Daniel.
Let's make sure we have it here.
Yeah.
So it's 1 through 55, excluding 3, 5, 6, 20, 25, and 55.
And 20 and 25 were pulled by staff, right?
Right.
Okay, and,
Okay.
or is there any discussion on
It's either
these?
Price or myself who seconded.
No,
No, it
I
was
yield.
Daniel who seconded and Cantrell's motion, and any discussion? Hearing none. All those
Yes, no. I want to mention something, Judge. First of all, I did ask Mr. Martin about agenda item number 28, which I believe is the, with Public Works, which is the consultant for some of the project schedule GIS. Am I correct about this, Ms. Blair? I never
Yes.
really hear anything, the GIS, how is this working? I know this is just a change of company, but, I mean, how's this going?
Well, we've been on hold on a lot of our GIS process, so this is going to give us the ability to get back on track actually, we've been on hold for about a year. So this is going to give us the tools to get back on and get things started up again on our GIS process.
Sounds good. And then I just wanted to let you know, thank you for all your help yesterday with Medical District Drive. That was a fabulous meeting, a long meeting, but nevertheless, it's the expansion of one of the entrance of what it is, the medical district here in Dallas. We've been working on this project for more than 8 years. So thank you, Ms. Blair. Thank you to your staff for that wonderful movement. I mean, today we're passing some of the construction funds, so I am delighted to see that. And couldn't happen without you and your staff, so thank you so much. We still have some meetings to go on that, but we're delighted to
I'm
see
going to amend the motion to take out 45 also for a separate vote
45?
45.
at the judge's request.
So 45.
Seconded.
Mark that one, it's not on my script.
Second on the amended.
Judge, I also wanted to make some comments. I guess I can do them after we finish on the travel policy.
Sure.
Okay.
I had
you
a
want
quick
me-
question of clarification on number 39 on the pursuit vehicle. So I know that there was a lot of discussion back and forth about the purchasing rules, but there wasn't on why there was a need for a special package.
It's a pursuit package.
I know.
It's
But that's lights and sirens and that stuff,
I
right?
think it's based on the type of vehicle because of all the equipment that's in the vehicle. You need a pursuit pack because it has a bigger battery, bigger cooling system. It's got a bigger suspension because there's a lot of equipment that goes in the vehicles. That's why you need.
That was the
type of
question.
vehicle.
I don't think it was ever answered in the back and
Oh,
forth.
I apologize.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, a regular Tahoe won't support that type of vehicle.
Thank
Just
you
a
for your
heavier
answer.
duty vehicle.
Exactly.
That's reading, once I got from AFC, I didn't remember.
Yeah, me too.
Any other questions or comments on these?
Call the question.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Now, on item 20, the staff pulled that, correct?
They pulled 20 and 25.
Okay, so I'll move Court Order 45.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And I will abstain.
We'll wait just a second.
Okay.
Commissioner, I think you're the second vote.
Yeah.
45, and it was unanimous with one abstention.
And then,
That was 45.
then I'll move Court Order 55.
Second.
Oh, yield.
Whatever.
Yield it.
And I just want to make a comment about agenda item 55. I mean, and that's the fact that I know that the briefing says that there's no funds, new funds allocated to this, but nevertheless concerns me the fact that we continue to move on a contract that I don't feel has all the requirements that need to be placed. But with that being said, my concerns have been say to Mr. Martin, so I'll be abstaining on this item.
All right, any further comments on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any abstentions, and I abstain.
Me
Right,
too.
and that takes us through our,
I wanted to make some comments, Judge, about the it's on the information about the travel policy update. And I want to thank the staff. I think that some of these changes probably will be beneficial. As I say, to Mr. Reed and Mr. Brown and Mr. Martin, I support the GSA to come out with the times when it comes to traveling for county personnel. However, I am totally opposed to the per diem changes. Okay, I mean, any kind of changes that we do in our policy that can give the impression that someone can make money out of it, I will not support. And then I know, Mr. Auditor, that this probably is going to be on your court, but I totally support the fact that we need to have employees giving receipts. Okay, I mean, as someone with a business, I know that I'm supposed to present these receipts to the IRS. I mean, even when I give money, I have to have a letter, saying that I'm giving money and I'm not getting anything back. So I totally think that for the sake of county government and transparency, we need to ask for this. Now, what I will say about these changes is that we need to look into how many times a person that travels on county business can submit a receipt. Just looking at all the information that I review every week, I mean, there's people that submit the same receipt how many times? 2, 3 times? I think I have asked, and we have no limit, okay? And I know that people tend to say they're going to spend so much, and then they spend less or more. Those are the issues that I would like to look into. I understand some of the changes are needed, but I do not like to make it easier just for the sake of workload, Mr. Auditor. I'm very sorry about that. And I also would like to have the budget, Mr. Brown, our budget director, to have control of some of these traveling expense. I think, honestly, not everybody needs to travel for as long as they travel with the staff that they travel. I mean, be a little bit more selective about how many times you can travel. And once the DDA funds are spent, that's it. Like how many times people...
I don't think they have no DDA funds anymore, but nonetheless, as one who has probably traveled less than anyone in the history of this court, and when I've traveled, I've not turned in receipts. I've been turning receipts because I haven't asked for reimbursement. But my point is that I thought this was as much of a housekeeping issue. And what is the universe in terms of what we're really talking about in terms of dollars?
So it is a housekeeping in the sense that there were some fundamental changes that staff wanted to recommend, and since we were going through that exercise, we went ahead and incorporated some other changes that some of the staff thought might be appropriate. This is obviously going out for comment, so we anticipate to receive multiple layers of comment. I know Charles is the one heading this up, so he will be meeting with you, Commissioner Garcia, to make sure he understands your concerns, and those comments will be brought back forth when the policy comes back forward.
Well, consider my publics right now, my comments that are public.
The total expenditures related to travel and training is going to be close to $500,000 on an annual basis. And some of it is, a lot of it is routine stuff like juvenile going out and visiting places that they need to visit, placements. No one cares. That's not what I'm talking about. But there are other things in here that I'm sure that people would start questioning the logic of it. We have right now we don't have a policy that says that if you're going to Frisco, you don't have to stay in the hotel. You can stay in a hotel.
Now,
that makes no sense.
I am going to submit my Wakanda travel. I am going to Wakanda, and I'm going to submit that, and I'm going to stay.
Well, and again, those are the issues that come out in the front page of a newspaper. So I would love to see that. I know, Mr. Auditor, that those receipts are well checked. Just the idea that we can eliminate receipts, make me cringe. And then as much as I hate it, once the money is, I hate to see the unallocated reserves and the same receipt being submitted, and I have to, see it every 2 weeks. So anyway, with that being said, those are my comments, and I know that I have talked to Mr. Reed about this, and Mr. Brown, I would like to have some more control. Not that you need any more work, but with that being said, you should be in the picture as well. So those are my comments.
Just as a point of information, what is the per diem right now?
There is.
How much is?
It varies. We have selected cities that have specific dollar amounts, just depending on the cost. In the proposed policy, we're looking at using the government rate on the per diem.
So the range is?
It really just depends on the city that you're going to.
Yes.
The limitation that we have now is our current travel policy only has 6 cities listed, or somewhere around there. And as locations being traveled to start to expand, not saying that we're traveling more, but right now we don't have a policy that covers, let's say, Midland, Texas. And if somebody needs to go to Midland, Texas for a conference, or if we are invited by the state to testify at a committee meeting in Midland, Texas, right now we don't have a per diem set for that city. The GSA is regularly updating what they consider the cost to stay or visit that city, and so linking ourselves to that we think is beneficial to us. And in fact, we surveyed all of the other large cities and counties around the state, and we're one of the last that don't use GSA. And so it will transitioning to, or linking ourselves to GSA.
It's the right.
It's a way to standardize what we're doing.
Right. It's just modernizing our travel policy.
I definitely agree with that.
Right. The receipts are another question that need to be.
Well, you know where I am on that.
Yes.
Real briefly, also on item number 14 is the records building. Real quick, we're entering a second large phase of the records building project, which is demolition, and I just want to thank Mr. Bazan.
I want to definitely thank Mr. Bazan. I was going to say that. Yeah.
Yep. And Commissioner Price, just for the record, since we're talking about this, the minority goals are almost at 70%, and obviously, this is a big move forward for that historic remodeling. There's $12 million in today's agenda for the demolition of floors and walls, and the rest is, for a joint venture and, the work that we're doing right now. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bazan. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Morris. Thank you.
Trump's going to save us some money on that steel, right? No, that's not going to happen.
Speaking of saving money, I think the county, based on the new tax deals, the employees are keeping $9.1 million in their pockets. But I won't go there, Judge. I'm not going to go there.
Don't go there.
Just not going to go there. All right. I was going to do a resolution.
We got that many upper 1%.
Oh, yeah, I was going to do a resolution.
We got that many upper 1%.
Oh, yeah. I know our employees are very thankful that the tax rate on your pass-through businesses and your offshore accounts have been drastically reduced, and now you'll be able to save millions, if not billions of dollars in those pesky taxes. So I share your happiness for our employees with their multifaceted tax schemes and pass-through businesses that are going to benefit mightily.
No, we really want to keep going this way. Well, with that being said, thank you.
I'd say 7 more years, but I won't say that either. But it is election day.
It's election day. Please don't forget to go vote.
Yeah, don't forget to go vote. And with that, we do have speakers. And before we get to the speakers, speaking of Election Day, polls are open until 7 o'clock. If you're in line at 7 o'clock, you can vote. There is unprecedented interest in this election. So in the early vote, we saw a near doubling of vote in the Democratic primary and a significant increase in the Republican primary. It is a good idea if you're voting on Election Day to go before 5 o'clock. The busiest time for Election Day voting will be the lunch hour and after 5 o'clock. So if folks have the flexibility to go before then, we encourage you to go before lunch or after the lunch hour. But whenever you go, please go vote. And with that, will the bailiff please read our rules of decorum for public speakers?
All Commissioners Court attendees are hereby advised that this meeting is conducted in accordance with the provisions of the Dallas County Code, Section 74-71. Visitors and registered speakers are to preserve order and decorum at all times. Personal, profane, or slanderous remarks are not appropriate and will not be allowed at any time during this public meeting. Any and all applause is to be kept brief in observance of time constraints. Disruptive visitors and registered speakers may be removed and are subject to the penalties provided in the state of Texas Penal Code Sections 38.13, 42.01, and 42.05. Registered individual speakers are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes, and the maximum discussion of any one topic is limited to 30 minutes.
All right, our first speaker on this beautiful election day, Democracy Tuesday, is our frequent guest, Dolores Phillips.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. Dolores Phillips, 3101 Luxor Way, Dallas, Texas, 75233. You do have handouts. This is Corporal Cotner's offense report. First of all, I would like to say this is why men and a few women continue to be exonerated, because police officers maliciously falsify police reports. On this police reports, it says the weapon type was hands and feet. There was never any altercation. There was no disorderly conduct. There was no needing to be restrained. I talked with Corporal Cotner this morning to ask for Mrs. Thorne's correct title and department, the one who told me that she heard that I had been taking medication for bipolar, and I told her that was untrue. She passed away. I don't know when, but she passed away. But there is another witness that she did retrieve my court documents on October 25th, 2013. When you look at this offense report written by Corporal Cotner, when he says the weapon type was hands and feet, if there was no altercation and no reason to be restrained, why would he put hands and feet? Why is he not on the list for officers who are dishonest, so that other people who has reports written by him can question if he falsified their reports as well? Also, I wanted to say that just as they unlawfully redacted 2 hours of the video of the coming and going of different people, ADAPT, the 2 women from ADAPT, Ms. Mary Louise Thorne, who went to retrieve my court documents, who's no longer here. All of that was unlawfully redacted. And I want you to know that I'm going to humbly be before you each and every opportunity that I get to remind you that Corporal Cotner will eventually be on the Brady's list as the other officers. And when men and women in blue do not rightfully disclose information about other officers being unlawful, when the shakeup comes, that's when officers get mad and get angry. That's why officers are steady leaving. DPD is because it was unfair, the shakeup, because some officers were demoted that should have been promoted, and some officers were reassigned who should have been terminated. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Doris. Our next speaker is Mallory York. Is Mallory York with us today? Mallory York. I don't see you or hear you. So our next speaker is Ms. Mona Olabris. Mona Olabris. All right. Our next speaker is Ms. LaChica King. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning. My name is LaChica King. I'm here to address unethical and compliance issues that are currently going on at Parkland Hospital that I, along with many other employees, have reported to the supply chain upper management, HR, the EEOC, the Compliance and Ethics Department, and through surveys that Parkland has provided us. Reporting these issues has resulted in us being harassed, retaliated against, and some of us wrongfully terminated. On November 2nd, 2017, I was directly told by Dr. Jim Dunn, the Senior VP and Associate Chief Talent Officer, that I was protected from retaliation while under the Whistleblowing Act, only to be targeted and wrongfully terminated in 2018. The details in my termination are slanderous and a direct assassination of my character. After having received an excellent annual review in December 2017, Dr. Dunn was unaware of my termination and instructed me to follow the appeals process. I had my first appeal with witnesses on February 15, 2018, and the CFO, Rick Humphrey, upheld the decision after we all made him aware of the issues. They denied my unemployment, but unemployment opened an investigation and found that Parkland fired me for a reason that was not misconduct connected with work, therefore awarding me benefits. I am now currently awaiting my second appeal, but they are giving me the runaround. I've been reporting issues since 2012 to include illegal waste and disposing of supplies and equipment, and the allowance of certain employees getting unlimited overtime with no justification that has cost taxpayers millions of dollars. As we speak, millions of dollars in supplies are just sitting unused in a warehouse on Tex Oak Boulevard, located by the new Parkland Hospital. On January 31st, 2018, Terry Dumas, the Senior Ethics and Compliance Investigations Consultant, called me about an anonymous complaint that was reported against MRD regarding the inventory. Ms. Dumas stated that I was not implicated or accused in this complaint, but that my name was given to provide information that would help her investigation. I explained things to her over the phone and sent her emails. I was terminated the next day. I'm asking for a federal investigation to look into Parkland Hospital's HR department and the supply chain, by whom we've reported many issues to, and they've been covered up for the last few years. I have substantial evidence to back up my claims.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ms. Taneva Estelle.
Wait a minute.
Just state your name and your address.
Excuse me?
Please state your name and your address.
Okay. My name is Tanetta Estelle, and address 9912 Gulf Palms, Dallas, Texas 75227.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I can start.
You go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm Tanetta Estelle, and I worked in MRD at Parkland Hospital as a temp employee from January 2011 to September 2012. I was hired as a permanent employee on September 6, 2012, and was wrongfully terminated on June 29, 2016. I applied for unemployment and it was denied. I am a single mother with a Bachelor of Science in Biology, and because of the non-rehirable status, Parkland has me listed as, it's been extremely difficult for me to find a steady job within Dallas, Texas. In March 2013, I reported to HR that I was being sexually harassed by my direct supervisor, Joe Dinkins. This supervisor is still currently employed with MRD, and many other employees have filed complaints against him. HR and the supply chain management covered up the issues by removing him as the dock supervisor at Old Parkland. After the move to New Parkland in August 2015, Joe Dinkins resumed his role as dock supervisor. I was placed under his authority again in 2015, by which I thoroughly disagreed and filed a complaint with Parkland's Integrity Line and HR. I was harassed and retaliated against and was wrongfully terminated by Joe Dinkins and Roderick Hughes. Many supply chain ethics and compliance issues which we've tried to report include sexual harassment from multiple supervisors towards employees, wasting taxpayer dollars and allowing the supplies to expire and be thrown away, blind receiving entire warehouse purchase orders. This alone creates issues when the back orders finally come in. Managers have the purchasing agents increase the line item quantities that cause accounts payable to pay out more for the items that were never delivered. Managers, supervisors have employees back out receipts that were processed on other shifts, and some of the directors and managers have employees adjust inventory accounts to pass audits by charging overage to a dummy cost center. Managers and supervisors take home and give away supplies, and managers and supervisors take home and give away supplies to employees instead of returning the product back to the vendor. Managers and supervisors order supplies using other employees' log-ons, and some of them also allow abuse of overtime for select employees. Justice will not be served until a federal investigation of Parkland Hospital's HR policies and procedures and the entire supply chain management be permitted, because like myself, many have been wrongfully terminated when trying to address issues and stand for what's right to invoke the necessary changes needed to better Parkland Hospital as a whole. Time's up.
All right. Our next speaker is Miss Holly Owens. All right. I got to say her name twice more, just for Holly Owens. Holly Owens, she's not here. Next is Mr. Avery Pate. Mr. Avery Pate. All right. Next is Miss April Flowers. Come on up. Just state your name and your address, Ms. Flowers, and then you can get started.
Okay. April Flowers, and my address is 3500 North Star Road in Richardson, Texas. I was employed with Parkland Hospital from February 2015 through March 2016 as mailroom supervisor, which is part of supply chain. My mailroom experience extends far back as 2001. I too was wrongfully terminated by the operation manager, Deborah Reed Powell, and Vice President Timothy Mann, in which both have been terminated for their wrongful practices. I also was denied unemployment, but was offered the option to resign and reapply for another position following my appeal, because my position had been given away to one of Deborah's friends and co-conspirator, Lisa Brown. Lisa Brown had absolutely no mailroom experience and was paid top salary and given a supervisor position based on the buddy system that plagues the supply chain. It has been a challenge for me to find another job comparable to the position at Parkland, which created a financial struggle for me and my family. The details of my termination are very questionable and require answers, seeing that I reported several behavioral issues of one of my employees to Deborah, but later learned Deborah wouldn't follow through with disciplinary action towards the employee because Deborah had conspired with the employee to get rid of me. I exposed Deborah's involvement with a voice record of my employees discussing their intent to hurt me and sabotage my reputation to have me fired. I allowed Timothy Mann and Peter Lawrence, the supply chain HR rep, and the appeal board to hear my voice record, by which Parkland's legal department said there was no violation of policy for the record, but I was terminated anyway. I currently have an EEOC complaint against Parkland. I am a witness to the lack of policies and procedures within the supply chain, the abuse of the department budget, and sexual harassment by the management team, and the favoritism that allows employees that are friends and family members of the management team to abuse overtime and Parkland policy. I am calling for a federal investigation to address the illegal practices of Parkland's HR department and the supply chain management. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Our next speaker is Mr. Robert Ciccarelli.
Good morning, everybody. I have something about I've been going to all both Homeless Commission, Citizens Council, and the partnership, and I'm just blown away that at the partnership meeting, we'll have 40 people there. I see about 20 of them that has information to blow this wide open. They refuse to talk. I don't know what it is. I'm talking about Crisis Intervention, Cindy Crane, Mogo from MetroCare, and other people, that they tell me what's wrong, but they won't tell the partnership. It needs to be transparent. And I'm just baffled why everybody is quiet about the problems with the homeless situation. I just want to say that I've asked Dr. Daniel about a homeless forum. She's for it. We need information like people behind me that we're just doing, coming up and say what the problems are. We can do that, but the homeless need to know they'd be confident that people be listening. And I'm asking if some of you can go to the Cathedral of Hope and have breakfast with the homeless one Saturday, and because they need confidence in themselves, and they need it really, really badly. And they're out there, they don't know what they're doing, there's no direction. You can create some excitement with the homeless for them to come to this homeless forum meeting. You really can. Mr. Price, especially you, sir, you really have an influence on them. And I really hope you can do this very, very quickly because time's running out. The homeless commissions about at the Dawson State Jail. I understand that Royce West has control over it. That's what I heard. And the person who wants to rebuild it, built the Statler, the developer was in the newspaper. I want this to be transparent. I will hope both of them can come here. Not me to invite them, for you to divide, the commission to invite them, and see if we can come out with a middle ground on this. City Council's got that bond money. I'm hoping they can use it at the Dawson State Jail. The mayor says you're the bank. Last time he was here, I'm not saying for you to put so much money in, but there's nothing else going on with the homeless, okay? There is nothing else coming on with the homeless situation, and there's a way of meeting middle grounds, even with you, Mr. Cantrell. I think you agree if I get time to talk to you about what I think could be done at Dawson State Jail for the homeless to be productive, instead of just staying there for until they wait for housing. So that's something I'm trying to get. And I want to say to you is that please invite Royce West and the developer, because there's nothing else on the table. And the homeless forum, that's needed because it can be done like you see what is being done with the gymnastics people, the 250 girls. They get the publicity. You see what the children in Florida and adults did. They get in action. It can be done. But the homeless forum needs to be at the auditorium, and you can help me get them excited for the homeless to go there and explain their problems to the Partnership Commission at the library, so that way they can do some action. But right now, I'm just saying cease the committees because it's dead on arrival. Thank you very much.
All right. And our next speaker is Mr. Richard Sheridan.
Yes, good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Appreciate being here. Here to speak about a very important subject, maybe the most important subject that I've spoken about in the last 14 years. Subject is the city reducing its police force at the expense of Dallas County. As the city causes the county much higher costs with its homeless program, so the city is causing much higher jail, court, sheriff's costs with the public safety program, not least to say that we're looking at increased loss of life. There are two Dallas police officers, one a 35-year officer who still is on the force, Officer Nick Novello, and now retired 30-year veteran Officer Dale Irvis. Both of these officers are very concerned about what's going on with the Dallas Police Department. Officer Irvis has been on the radio a few times, while Officer Novello is now circulating a very powerful and controversial video entitled, "If This Cop Is Right, Dallas is in Big Trouble." Officer Novello has a Facebook page where you can access the video. Go to Facebook, Nick Novello, to access it, along with finding much more information. Some of the issues which Officer Novello discusses in the video: we are seeing our police force being significantly reduced and weakened. Why? It's all about money, with tens of millions that should go to public safety being diverted to city projects, so few wealthy people will benefit at the expense of public safety. Many businesses are either leaving Dallas or not coming here because of Dallas' increased crime. We are seeing open warfare in South Dallas. This is all information coming from Officer Novello and also Officer Irvis. Minority communities are being virtually ignored. A combination of nearly the lowest salary in the Metroplex, $45,000 versus an average city of $55,000, and the treatment and very low morale of Dallas police officers, and the agenda to dismantle the Dallas police force has caused the police force to be at a 10-year low, according to Police Chief Hall. Instead of 3,700 officers, Dallas is now about 2,600. And again, what is the real number? Which is about 30% lower than what the FBI recommends. Also, as reported on KLF today, that 50% of the command staff of the police force has left. Misrepresentations concerning the actual crime numbers, with reporting that much lower crime numbers than the actual numbers. As the Dallas County knows, high crime means increased costs in jail, courts, another drain on the Sheriff's Department. In summary, I ask that Dallas County can do about the situation. Certainly lobbying behind the scenes is one way. Perhaps there is a way to change the situation with our district attorney, and she will be in receipt of this in the mail, as well as our sheriff, who opened a vote for a investigation. Perhaps our district attorney will begin an investigation into what is going on with the reduction of the city's police force, which puts Dallas citizens in jeopardy. And on the back, There's some other quotes from Officer Irvis and from Officer Novello. So thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, our next public speaker is Mr. William Hopkins.
My name is William Hopkins. Jenkins, being black in Dallas is pitiful, man. It's so hard, man. I told John, I said, John, my son robbed at Kimball High School. I said, I ran in the street and flagged the police down. I said, I got the police report. I ran the street and flagged the police down. My son was robbed by this kid, and the kid was still in the school attending class, and the principal and the police had left him in school with my son. He had cut him up. So I tell John, I called the police, John, they took me to jail and left the kid that cut my son and robbed him in the school building, John. John said, I don't believe you, William. I don't believe that. So I showed him the police report while I called the police. I dialed 911, Judge Jenkins, for the police to come to Kimball to help me with the kid that robbed my son. The police took me to jail and left the kid in the school. So I asked John to help me, and John, he never helped me. So I went to court, Henry Wade Junior Court, and Henry Wade said, well, what happened? I tell him that my son was robbed, and I called the police, and I dialed 911 for the police to come, and I waited 45 minutes. And then when the police came, I told Judge Henry Wade, I said, I ran in the street and flagged him down and told him the kid that robbed my son was still in the school. And him and the principal got together, and they took me to jail. So Henry Wade Jr. told me I was guilty. So if you're black and you go to Henry Wade Jr., you go to jail for nothing. If you're black in Dallas, you go to jail for nothing. John never said nothing. I went to jail. Henry Wade gave me 160 days in jail for calling 911 to help with my son that got robbed, Judge Jenkins. John knew it, and John knew it, and it never helped me. And then John turned around and voted for me not to speak down after me begging him for help. He turned around and voted, him and Lee Jackson them said, William, you can't come down here and talk about that lead or talk about whatever every week. So John voted for me not to come down here. It was the white people, and then John voted with the white people, Judge Jenkins, to stop me from speaking every week. And I hear these women getting sexually harassed, and nothing happened. Y'all can't say nothing. Some white man said, y'all done voted, well, y'all can't say nothing. Y'all take off 2 weeks. You go on vacation for 2 weeks. You make $190,000. John make $150. Cantrell make $100 in Sand Branch. Have y'all hired the engineer and the 2 white people for help with Sand Branch, Judge Jenkins? People been over there 30 years with no water. Y'all just sit here. Can y'all say something about Parkland? Can you say something about Parkland? Since y'all are over a summer with Parkland, can you say something about the black women that's getting harassed? Can y'all do anything? I know John left me in jail. Can y'all help them?
Mr. Hopkins, you're out of time. Thank you.
I'm out of time.
All right, that concludes our public speakers. We're going to adjourn now for our closed session to discuss matters under Chapter 551 of the Government Code as previously posted. Any action as a result of that closed session will take place in a subsequent open session.
action, not really. Court stands adjourned. All right, you guys.